Hey, welcome. This is going to be a short lecture. I'm going to show you a handy trick for collapsing nodes into macros and why we should do this versus using a function and how macros are different from functions. So let's take a look at macros. Now, it's possible that you might have tried taking all of these nodes in our drone pawn for the patrolling behavior and attempted to right-click and select collapse to function, and you were met with nothing but frustration and an error message. And if you show message log, we'll see two messages here. Move to location or actor cannot be placed in function graph, and the same thing goes for delay. And the truth is you cannot place a delay or a move to location or actor function inside of another function. That's because these deal with time. And this is by design from Unreal Engine. There have been problems with placing nodes that have to do with time inside of functions. They just don't work. However, there's a way to get around this by using a macro. A macro works much like a function, except there's a key difference. And we're going to collapse all of these nodes into a macro, and I'll show you what I mean. So let's highlight all of these nodes, right-click, and select Collapse to Macro. And we can simply call this Patrol. And now we see this Patrol node, and it looks kind of like a function, only it's a little different. It's gray instead of blue, and it's not a function. It says M here for macro. Now, the reason we can place nodes that have to do with time inside of macros is because a macro is more just an organization method of keeping things orderly, keeping nodes under control. A macro does the following. Let's double click on Patrol and see that we have these nodes inside of the macro. When our program runs, what Unreal Engine does is it takes all of these nodes inside of this macro and it finds any place in our event graph where we're executing that macro, and it literally pastes those nodes right here. This is a simplification, and it's really done on a deeper level on the C++ side, but all of that code associated with these nodes is literally replaced here. So if I come over here somewhere else in my event graph and I use my patrol macro, it's just like copying all of those nodes in the patrol macro and pasting them here. And that's why macros work and functions do not when it comes to using time-related nodes like delay. So we have our macro called patrol, and we're calling this instead of all of those nodes that we had. So if we compile and save and hit play, we see that our drones are patrolling just fine. And of course, our other functionality works as well, such as taking damage. So in this video, we learned about macros and how they're different from functions. A macro is literally equivalent to copying and pasting those nodes everywhere where the macro is called. And we can use macros to collapse nodes that contain things like delays and any functions that use time. So that's another tool in your tool belt that you can use to keep your graphs orderly. Great job. I'll see you soon.